Yeah. All right. Okay. Welcome back to Pixel Village, and I'm Radha Krishnan. Well, the COVID and the lockdowns seems to have not really affected the photography industry. Definitely not the manufacturers, because I see them rolling out one heavyweight after the other with almost monotonous regularity. We recently did a few, reviews at Pixel Village. The last one being the FujiFilm GFX50S. And I don't think even the first set of orders have reached the hands of the end consumer. Well, they launched another one. Well, but there is a news in the internet world that it is just a storm in a teacup. And, oof. Oh, yes. But we will definitely see if it was really a storm in the teacup or was it really a tempest. Well, we're going to be talking about the GFX50S II. Well, Fuji calls it more than full frame. They have many reasons why they are calling it as more than full frame. Before we actually look into why they're calling it more than full frame, let's get some specs out of the way. Well, it's mandatory, so let me do it. I'm sure you already know it. Now, if you don't really see the labeling, you can mistake this for the GFX100S. It looks exactly like that, except the badging from the outside. Of course, it's got a brand new lens. This is the 35-70 4.5 5.6, which works like an equivalent of 27-55 3.5 4.5. Okay, for your understanding, that's how this lens kind of compares to a full frame. The difference is this is a 51.4 megapixel large format camera. Now, large format, again, let me tell you, it doesn't really refer to the large format as we know from the film world. Okay, this stays in between the medium format and the full frame. In fact, this is almost 1.7 times bigger than a full frame, which also means that this has nice big pixels to, kind of receive lots of light. Now, we will go there slightly later and we'll talk about it in detail. Shoots about 3 frames per second. It has internal image stabilization. The 100S had 6 stops and this one has 6.5 stops of stabilization. Here I'm going to do a small low light, high ISO test for the GFX50S II. I'm going to take many shots right from 100 ISO to 12,800 ISO. And let's see how this guy is going to behave. As we know, the GFX50 had two earlier avatars, right? The GFX50S and the GFX50R. Now, this is the S2. Now, S2, of course, instead of getting the older body upgraded, this has actually gone into a completely new body, but it seems it's the same sensor doing the job in the new body with the help of a brand new processor, the X processor 4. Now, that processor will take care of a lot of things in the image departments, that's for sure. Other than that, of course, this is weather resistant and it is sealed at about 60 points so that you can take it out onto a mild shower, absolutely no problem. The 3570 actually was launched as a kit lens for the 50S II, and that too is a weather resistant lens. In fact, during the launch, Fuji announced a series of brand new juicy glasses. Well, I can't really wait to get my hands on those new ones. There are some amazing glasses were announced. This 3570, like I told you, it comes as a kit lens, do not have an aperture ring. Fuji users, those Fuji lovers might miss it, but since it is going to be compared with a full frame, the full frame users these days are comfortable with lenses without an aperture ring. So I don't see that as a big problem. But what this lens really does is to kind of give you a kit lens at a great price, without any compromise in their optical quality. Of course, at 4.5, yes, you may not get the bokeh which you may want to have, but you must remember that you are using that on an extremely large sensor, which means you will still get a beautiful bokeh. It works perfectly with all the previous lenses, and of course this lens is also designed to handle the 100 megapixel sensor as well. Okay, well, looking at the rear, you have the standard three-way tilting LCD. Now, the LCD brightness and resolution is perfect. It's a touch LCD. You can do a whole lot of things with it. But the EVF is, there is a little bit of a compromise in the quality of the EVF. Some of the real high-end full-frame users might find this EVF a little lacking in, let's say, in refresh rates. But you must also remember that it's a pretty big size EVF, and the kind of work that you can do with this camera, that kind of refresh rate is more than sufficient because it shoots 3 frames a second, a 50 megapixel camera. I'm certain that you're not going to take it to a sports arena or wildlife unless you're shooting, let's say, a very comfortable shoot. Landscapes, people, weddings, still life, perfect. This also has the high resolution mode. So 16 shots put together will give you a 200 megapixel massive image if you shoot using the pixel shift mode. Of course, you can shoot only in completely static kind of conditions. If there are moments in your scene, of course, you will end up not doing a good job. And of course, it's got a brand new lighter shutter unit which was specially designed for this body. Now this camera uses the contrast detecting system for focusing. In comparison to, let's say, a dual pixel based focusing system, this is a little slow, but this definitely kind of guarantee you great accuracy, and great image quality, because you're not losing any pixels for focusing in the sensor. And the new processor and the new firmware definitely kind of helps you, to attain focus very fast. In fact, Fuji claims that this camera can really focus in low light. Of course, it has the, the face detection. It's got the eye detection, autofocus and all that. This can actually focus at even minus 3.5 EV, which means in pretty kind of underlit situations too, this camera will focus very efficiently. We also shot some time-lapse video using the intervalometer. We shot lots of stills and we put them together in post. By doing that way, you are not limited to the video resolution of the camera. You can get as much as you want. Well, all the ergonomics, like I told you right at the beginning, it is exactly like the GFX50S, and the only difference is the sensor. Dial is exactly the same, the quick dial menu, ergonomic, in fact, it's exactly the same. Of course, now you have an additional grip that is available. I don't know if it's going to be available in India, but it is being announced as we speak. Now, as a photographer, I really like this camera, okay? The features, the resolution, the size, everything. But before I actually tell you those reasons in detail, let me tell you a couple of reasons why you should not buy this camera if you're looking for that. This camera is definitely not for speed, okay? It can shoot about 3 frames a second, one. Second, this is not a real hybrid camera for filming. This can at best shoot some full HD at 60, probably a little more. I don't even want to know that feature because I will not be buying this camera to shoot sports, or I will not be buying this camera to shoot a video. You have better gears for that. But if you are someone who is interested in creating amazing looking images, well, then you don't have to look anywhere else, because this camera used to be in, was in a much bigger body. If you're comparing it with a medium format camera, those are completely studio cameras with one focusing points and very restricting, ISOs and prohibitively expensive price tags. This camera offers extreme mobility, because this camera is, like I told you, is like a decent size DSLR or, a big mirrorless camera. This camera offers 50 megapixels in a format which is 1.5 times bigger than a full frame, which also means that your each pixel is like nice and big, and it can take in a lot of light, which also means that your signal to noise ratio, meaning you can make use of the entire dynamic range the sensor is offering you, which also means that right at the extreme ends of the dynamic range, the highlights and the shadow can be recovered without too much of a problem, because the sensor is not really struggling trying to amplify that image, because it is getting a lot of of light. Fuji also claims that the way the micro lens is placed on top of the pixels without touching, without overlapping each other, also improves the quality of the image immensely. So mobility, great quality image with very little signal to noise ratio, and an amazing price. That's why they call it, more than full frame. This camera has actually taken, like I said in the beginning, the fight straight into the full frame territory. Now I want to clarify a little more about pricing in general, okay? Not about this particular camera's pricing. It's very important for this camera, all right, but generally about photography pricing in India. We are definitely a price-sensitive market, so we go and try and get the best deal out of the dealer, right? We wring his neck to an extent where he can't even breathe. Now, when a brand announces a launch price, it's usually is in US dollars, and which means it's the price available in the store before the tax in the store in US. Now, US being a very consumer-friendly market, their import duties are way lower than ours. Their taxes over and above the store price is about 8%. It's a VAT. So, to give an example, this particular kit is $4,499 in USD, and 8% gets added on to it if you buy this in a store in US, which makes it $4,850 US, which is equivalent to about 363,000 Indian rupees. Now, that pricing again will vary if you go to other parts of the world, because their import duties, their local tax structures will keep varying. For example, Singapore and Europe and UK especially is likely to be more expensive. But when it comes to India, we have a very high import, though it has eased out. In fact, in the recent years, I've seen most of the photography equipments are sold at par with international prices, or less than, at times, less than international pricings. In the Middle East, prices cannot be negotiated. In fact, it's true with everywhere in the world. Unless there is a Black Friday or a special occasion, you don't really get discounts from the store. Now, when we talk about the Indian scenario, now India, we have this concept of MRP, maximum retail price, beyond which you cannot sell the product. Now, the MRP also includes your 18% GST, which is equivalent to a VAT in other part of the world. We used to have VAT till very recently. Now it is GST, 18% on photography equipment. MRP is ideally what you should be paying, which usually will be above, let's say, if you compare with the US prices, it will definitely be above the US prices. Now, if you are a GST registered tax-paying professional, then you get two benefits. One is the GST amount, the 18%, will come back to you as tax set-off, GST paying set-offs. You can take it as an input credit. Okay, and then you can also every year you can claim 15% as your depreciation, and of course, to top it, you also get to enjoy warranty. Full warranty. Sometimes it is 2 years, sometimes it's 3 years, with an international warranty, which you will not get if you try to bring it from other countries into this country. So net, what I want to say is that if you try to buy the product in India, well, the MRP might look a little more than, let's say, a store price in America, but if you actually calculate and do all these maths, you will realize that you are really benefiting. I'm not trying to push anything here, but this is something which I have seen. I also sincerely would like to request all photography friends not to really, like I said, wring the necks of the dealer, because 500,000 or 2,000 rupees is, end of the day, is what the dealer is earning from, let's say, a camera sale. And if you take that away from him, you are actually putting your friend who's actually a part of your community into trouble. All right, so maybe you can recover that money by offering less discounts in your professional fee next time when you go out to, do a job. So that will be a more healthier practice to for all our fellow professionals. I know I'm biting a bullet here, but somebody got to do it. I thought I'll take this opportunity to kind of express my humble view in this aspect of pricing here. FujiFilm India has announced the pricing of the GFX50S II along with some amazing freebies bundled along with it. The GFX50S II body has an MRP of 379,999. Well, the freebies are a branded B&W hard case worth 8,800 Indian rupees and an Angel Bird 64 GB 300 Mbps SD card worth about 11,500 Indian rupees. Well, the body plus the 3570 lens, that bundle costs 449,999. Of course, it's also available with the same hard case and the SD card. Well, if you consider the cost of the freebies and a GST set off, well, the price of the GFX50S II in India, I think will be the cheapest in the world. Point to ponder. If you are interested in learning photography, please head over to pixelvillage.com. We have a set of fantastic photography teachers there taking classes for you. They're all recorded sessions. You can watch the bouquet of offering, and if you like it, you can subscribe. Now, this is the end of the first part of the video. The second one is going to be a shoot. Something that I'm really waiting for more than one reason. One definitely is the camera. Second one, wait till we release that in part 2.